When I decided to move OUTPour Productions to Atlanta 1 year ago, there were 3 people in the ballroom scene I said I have to interview. One was the pioneer icon Stuart Ebony. Bing, got him. Next is the icon founding mother Raquel Balenciaga. We're still working on her. So if she sees this message, somebody tell her, come do an OUTPour story with OUTPour Productions. Please, we're begging for her. And the third is no other than the icon pioneer, Andre Mizrahi. What hasn't this man done, right? He was the face of Vogue in the 1990s to the early 2000s. I remember being a young teenager in North Philadelphia watching Andre Mizrahi on the Apollo stage, taking voguing to a place at that time we had never seen before. I had never seen voguing on a syndicated show nationally. And here was this guy just voguing his heart out and doing a dip from the Apollo stage onto the Apollo floor. I had never had an opportunity to sit down with him and just talk to him and pick his brain about where he thinks Vogue is going, where has the ballroom scene, how it's evolved. It is such an amazing opportunity. And so I was really excited about this interview because I never get on camera and talk about these interviews that I do, but I hope that you get a chance to look at all of our interviews, from Jamie Balenciaga to Pony Zion to one of my favorite ballroom interviews of all time is Jalen Lavin, when she talks about being the rich bitch. If you ever get a chance, look at that interview. It's amazing. What I want you to do right now is I want you to sit back and listen to the pioneer icon, Andre Mizrahi, talk about his experience in the ballroom scene and how it's evolved. I think you will get a lot out of it, as much as I did. And I can tell you, I don't care if 2 people watch this interview or 20 million people watch this interview. I did this interview for me. So I hope that you get as much pleasure out of this interview as I do. And as always, thank you for the outpour of love and support. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm the icon Andre Mizrahi, and if you see me in the streets, I go by Andre. This is the outpour of my story.
This is gonna shit make a bitch go off. This is gonna shit make a bitch go off. This is gonna shit make a bitch go off. In the bathroom stall, make a bitch drop jaws. Give a nigga brains till a bitch slide jaw like a needle to below, so shit pop off. This is gonna shit make a bitch go off. This is gonna shit make a bitch go off.
I did come out in 1988, the same year my son was born. I was going with my girlfriend for probably like from 17 to 19 until she got pregnant. Once she got pregnant, then I said, you know what, because I was always fighting it in the back of my mind about, am I gay? I didn't know which way to go with it. So that's when I basically came out the closet, went to the village for the first time with a trans man, an iconic trans man named Sean Ebony, best friend of mine since I was 12 years old. He guided me to the village, and that's where it all started from in 1988. So yeah, when I came out, it was really a shock to my baby mother. She really didn't know. I didn't throw it to her. I kind of just like disappeared from her. Basically in 1988, once she got pregnant, I was like, I was fighting demons because I didn't know. I knew I had feelings for men, but I never had sex with a man. So I said, you know what? Once she got pregnant, I said, let me go and see if this is what I want. And so I never told her nothing, but I never went back to her. So that's when I started hanging out in the village and figuring me out, seeing gays and seeing another whole life that I got, comfortable with. My baby mother did not take that well. We wasn't speaking. I stayed away from her. Basically, even when my son was born, I met her at the hospital, but she started hearing things that I was hanging with boys and I might be gay and this and that. She never disrespected me. She never said too much, but I knew she didn't take it well because she was in love with me. But 1988, the epidemic of HIV was crazy to me. It was completely crazy. Why? Is because I'm fresh, I'm young, And the first person that ever caught it in my eye was Rock Hudson. He was a famous star, television, a white Caucasian man. But at that time, racism was bigger than ever then. So for him to catch it, it just went viral as a major star. So once he caught it, to me, in my mind, anybody can catch it. That's just how I was thinking of it or whatever. I'm in the middle of, the gay scene, and I'm seeing so many of my friends catching it, or somebody say, Andre don't like him because he might be sick, or this one might be sick. I was kissing a few people, then 3 months later, somebody might die. So at the end of the day, I kind of put it in the back of my mind, Andre, might be the way that you pass away as well, because what gives you the difference to not catch it when so many humans, that is good people, is catching it? I do sit back and wonder why God kept me here without the HIV and all the madness, because at the same time, it could have been anybody. I don't think I'm special than anyone else to get it or to non-get it or whatever, but I think your destiny is with God. Whatever God got for you is for you. I used to go to this little club or whatever, and when I came out, I was just happy, gay, and I used to always make my clothes, so I had something on, whatever. So Jason Overness, the icon pioneer Old Way, came up to me and was like, I want you to be an Overness or whatever. And I was like, what is an Overness? He was like, this is just a gay house where we could battle against each other for different trophies or whatever. And I was like, oh, that sounds like me. I dance, so I want to do that. So he put me in that house. But he threw me in the house without the rest of the peers that's in the house, without them going to a meeting or whatever. So it was a bunch of drama. And the drama basically was, oh, he's not in the house, he is in the house, he's not in the house. So I completely left the house. And I was like, well, I don't need this drama. I didn't come in the right way, and I don't feel like going through the drama. So I never walked as an Overness. I was there for 2 weeks, and then I went to the same club again. About 2 weeks later, I see Stewart. Icon Stewart, pioneer, my gay mother for Ballroom. And he came up to me and was like, what's your name? And I was like, Andre. He was like, what house you in? I was like, I'm not in the house. He was like, I want you to be a LaBeija with me, because I see the future for you. I could see you going places or whatever. And I was like, I do want to be in the house, but I don't know, if it's going to be drama, because the Overness has had me for 2 weeks, and that was drama. So the end of the day, I ended up joining LaBeija, and that was the kickoff for my career. I couldn't win one trophy for about a year and a half. I was getting chopped 6, 7s, 8s. I was working for about like a year and a half as a LaBeija, but at first I couldn't even get 10s for a category. And I was getting frustrated, but I am one of those types I just keep trying to strive to try to figure it out and, get something. So finally, I got 10s. I didn't even get 10s in New York City, where I'm from. I got 10s in DC for Shorts Ahoy, which they don't have anymore. But mind you, I got 3 trophies in one day after losing for the first time. But basically, as a LaBeija, I probably won maybe about 50 trophies. Not even 50. I would say about 30 trophies as a LaBeija. So then, the whole house is in an uproar and everybody's leaving. So I'm thinking everybody's leaving, because me and Pepper was really, really close. Pepper used to grab me and take me everywhere with her, to different universities, to Vogue and this and that. So Pepper was definitely my first mother ever, period. So everybody was leaving, saying they're going to Revlon. Me not knowing Ballroom, thinking everybody's going to Revlon. But it wasn't like that, because I was still learning Ballroom. So basically everybody was leaving LaBeija except for Pepper and the founders and opening Revlon. So I was following Stewart and them, so I became a Revlon. I felt bad because now I'm not even with Pepper, and to me, Pepper was guiding me so much, and I was following the rest of them. But Pepper still was that mother and still took me to universities as a Revlon and this and that. But yeah, so it was crazy. I stayed basically a Revlon for about 2.5 years. I won 75 trophies before I left. And that's when the House of Mizrahi started in 1992. And from that day on, I was really a Mizrahi. I closed it down for a second, opened Givenchy up. Then I went back to Mizrahi, and this is where I'm at.
You were under also, so you were there when Tony was the father.
Which Tony?
Tony Revlon.
Yes.
how was Tony as a leader, young Tony as a leader? We see him now, but how was young Tony as a leader?
I don't, he was a leader, but I think he's more leading now than Tony Revlon. I think he leads more now because of history and time. Then it was more like a competing thing and wanting to win himself to still make his name. But now it's a different whole thing. He's definitely that leader.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I get what you're saying, because he had to still like walk.
Yes. Yeah, he was still walking a lot and making sure he was foundationed in his spot. Well, how did the House of Mizrahi start? In 1992, I think I got to a point where I wanted to lead a little bit. Yeah, I wanted to lead a little bit. And there was a little animosity with me and my father, Tony, at that time. So I was like, you know what, let me try to find where I'm gonna go. So I was thinking about the House of Milan, because me and Terry, the founder that passed away, was really, really close. But me and the father, Roger, was not close at all and never spoke. Because we battled for the same category. So he never liked me. So I was like, I wanted to be a Milan, but I was like, nah, I'm not going to the House of Milan because that's too much fiction over there. So then I started looking through magazines, because the old days, all houses was made after, you know, designers and different things. So I pulled up maybe like 7 different names, you know, Yoji Yamamoto, Massimo, Gaultier. It was a few names I pulled up, and Isaac Mizrahi was one of them. Givenchy was one of them as well. So I kept looking and was like, I can't do this, I can't do that. But Isaac Mizrahi kept staying in my head for only one reason. It was weird, it was different, and I really didn't understand it. So that was the reason why it stood. And I was like, well, I can't call myself Isaac Mizrahi because the name is too long. I'm going to have to use either Isaac or Mizrahi. So I was like, well, Mizrahi is more weirder, and it sounds like Andre weird anyway. So that's how the House of Mizrahi came. I figured it out myself. I looked in the book myself. I found it. It's mine.
You know where that came? That came from me. That came from me. It was my doing.
The day the House of Mizrahi started was the first day I ever gave my own ball in history as well. 1992 was my first ball ever, leaving the House of Revlon, opening the House of Mizrahi, and it was called the Legends Ball. That was my first ball ever in tracks on 19th Street. So that was my first ball, and it was a great hit. I didn't believe that I had that many followers, because to me, I was just young and just having fun, but so many legends and different people joined my house. So it was a hit from day one, and it completely took off.
So, did you start the Legends Ball? Is that like your ball? Was there a Legends Ball before that?
I know. I just so basically, I did not start the Legends Ball. I knew one person that used to do the Legends Ball before me. He passed away. God bless his soul. I could not remember. I know he was a journalist, but I could not remember his name. Hakeem, if I'm correct. But anyway, he used to do it. He passed away. And then I said, you know what? I want to do the Legends Ball. So that's when I did the Legends Ball for the first time at that first ball that I have ever. So it was like a be continued thing. Okay, when we finally did come out as Mizrahis, that night we never walked nothing because that was my ball. That was just our entrance to the world or whatever. But the next good 2 or 3 months later, because remember in 1988 they didn't have balls, or that was 1992. They didn't have balls the way they have them now. They might have one every 2 months or something, so you had time to prepare a little more than what you have now. You have balls once every week, 2 weeks in a different city now. Our first grand prize ever, we won, and that was at the ABC Milan Ball, and that was like our first grand prize ever for Mizrahi, and that probably was in '94, so that was about a year and a half after we opened.
What was the category?
It was a house production, satanic punk rock, something, bring some crazy weird, but that was the first grand for $1,000 that we won in '94. Okay, the fruits from the iconic Pioneers trio. We're gonna start from Amber Rose, major star, Mizrahi. She was in the house before that, but she was really in my house. We was pushing her before she became who she was. Amaya Scott, y'all know who she is. Milan, y'all know who he is. Jack, y'all know who he is. Sanaya, y'all know who she is. Laomi, y'all know who she is. Trigony, Y'all know who she is. It's so many, and I know I'm probably leaving so many more out. Felicity, the mother of the House of Balmain. It's so many amazing people that came from my tree. It's just like a warming thing to my heart to know that my talent is so strong to have people that's gifted all around the world that came from under me. Do I really believe that, that's a hard question. Do I really believe if it wasn't for me, would it be, MC Deborah or Laomi? That's a hard question because the talent, I didn't give them their talent. I just opened doors and moved them in that right direction, if that makes sense. But I do believe it would have been them, but on a longer note, so they might have didn't get the talent they were supposed to get at that time. It would have came later or a different door because you can't stop nobody's blessings for talents. So I definitely think that I had the door open for them and they used their work to get through. One, I've always been a dancer all my life, from little hip hop to pop locking. So the Apollo basically came. A lot of people don't know I did the Apollo 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And I did the Apollo 3 times before it was televised. I did it when I was 15. I got gonged. I went back with Pepper 2 different times. I won both of them that was not televised. Then I said, you know what, Andre? Take Vogue and by yourself and see if you can get far with television. Because I was always one of them that wanted to see how far I can get with something. And I always felt voguing couldn't get far. So that's when I politely went on television and won. First time ever, nobody ever won on the Apollo by themselves voguing. So that's completely history with Andre Mizrahi. Yeah. I do believe that in my time with voguing, I was the face of Vogue after Jose and Madonna's Vogue. I was the first, to me, black person that made it so far from like the BET Awards, the MTV Music Awards, Lil' Kim, Puffy, the movie Honey, so much, RuPaul. I have done so much with television and this is before anybody have done it, with the videos and the movies or whatever. So yeah, I do believe that I was the face of Vogue and I do believe that I helped, make it to what it is now. Because so many people became after that. So, I clap myself a little bit with that, but I'm happy where Vogue is at right now because it just opens up so many opportunities for so many others. When did I know Mizrahi was really the shit, as they would say? I really didn't. I was one of those that was stuck in my head of just doing whatever I had to do. I do believe that we had talent. I do believe we was a house just like everybody else's. But I don't think I really knew that I have changed a moment in Ballroom until my first trip to, where was I at? Paris. International. When I did a class over there in Paris and there was a ball over there. And that's when it just came to me like, wow. I'm in another whole country teaching how to basically Vogue, something that I just wanted to do for fun. And I have a bunch of peers behind me screaming Mizrahi, over 500 people that's in my house. And that's probably one of the first times I sat back and I thanked God. It's like, oh my God, I'm in a place where I'm happy with my life.
Are you always surprised at how folks respond to you at balls? Are you surprised? What does that? Because I feel like a lot of the young folks, they still celebrate you. Mm-hmm. Do you feel wild by that, or are you how? What is going through your mind?
When it comes to celebrating me and how they celebrate me in Ballroom, I do be surprised, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. And why I say that is because one, as a human, you stay humble. You stay humble because God made, to me, everybody should be humble, but a lot of people are not. So without peers and without anything that God give you, you will not be the human that you're supposed to be. So staying humble is one of the best things to do. And I am humble, so it don't matter if some people say you're lower than me or beneath me or higher than me. I speak to anyone that speaks to me. So truthfully, that's the first thing. And when I do that, I think that gives me a lot of blessings of people praising me or people loving my talent or follow me or do whatever, is because humble is the key to any type of art. Growing up in Ballroom, you're going to have days where days, months, and maybe even a year. It could be, it depends on you. But you're going to have times where you want to give up ballroom. You don't think that nobody's behind you. People will slap in your face, and you'll give so much of you when you don't have no more to give. So it was at times where I felt that I wanted to leave ballroom alone because I felt like no one was, basically behind me trying to help me. And as much as I have gave ballroom, it seems like I wasn't getting anything back. It took probably 2.5 years ago where ballroom have crushed me so heavily for something that I have said that they felt that was wrong or whatever. And that's when I seen a whole different side of ballroom. But I said, Andre, you have to grasp the good with the bad, deal with it, learn how to deal with it. You in the industry, it comes with it. And you have to just fight to get what you need. And I was one of those that was never a quitter. So I just did what I had to do to make sure that no one's going to tarnish my name, period.
Okay. So I'm glad you brought that up because it's in here. So let's and not to revisit it in like what happened or anything.
Yeah.
I think people know what happened, but like, did you evolve from like some of the things that you said, or like did you like learn anything, or did you say, you know what, maybe I understood, or maybe they were wrong? I mean, what did you learn from that?
The issue in this argument is that there's this idea around someone not being a woman because of body parts, or the ability to produce, or the ability to that they went from being. There's a disconnect between the body and the mind, right? That there's a big disconnect between the body and the mind, and that we're asking.
I'm sorry, I gotta stop you again because I'm reading the comments. First, I'm gonna go to Shady Prada. Shady Prada, you are 100% right, but that's when a phone call come in. That's when you call me and respect me, because as a man, I respect you. And we can call and talk about whatever if you feel that it's a situation. Now going down, let me go down. Kamaya, don't ever tell me to leave ballroom. I leave ballroom when I'm ready to leave ballroom. Don't sit here and tell me I need a break. To me, you need a break. So at the end of it, no, it ain't no listen. At the end of the day, if y'all want respect about what I've said, then let's talk about that. Don't talk about nothing but that. As soon as when they start typing, I'm gonna start talking. Because at the end of the day, they are being disrespectful. It don't matter how they're being disrespectful, but they are. And I didn't read nobody.
So
I didn't read nobody.
One circulating argument. So let me just say this before we ever separate. One of the things that bothers some people is that they were saying, when you said the thing, like if someone goes to the bathroom and they look like an ape or whatever, they shouldn't go to the bathroom. And that is an issue, because about being transgender, right, and having gender dysphoria is not decided by where someone thinks your genitalia should be, or your body parts, or this part in your transition, right? Because everyone,
what I've learned about the situation with the trans women of what I went through about 2 years ago is, one, I feel the way I feel. I'm a grown man. I'm 52 years old. I'll be 53. Whatever I say, my deliverance might be off, but at the same time, this is just who I am. I do believe that every human is equal. Let's start there. I do believe every human is equal in every opportunity that we have in life. Do I feel that we are in different shoes at times? Correct. So what I've learned, period, is everything is not for a camera, one. Everything that you feel, just make sure you saying it at the right time and in front of the right people, because they can use something that's not even bad and switch it around and try to make the worst out of it just for you to fail, because they want to push ahead with something else. Because I feel like it wasn't even the trans woman. I felt like it was basically a deliverance that came from somebody else that made it worse than what it was.
Even though, I know what you're saying about like editing, and then like people could take one word that you say and totally misconstrue it.
Correct.
Do you say, at the end of the day, do you say, you know what, I did say that, even though that's not what I meant, and I know you guys twisted that and whatever, so I'll eat that, but it's, I'm trying to figure, like, I'm still responsible for what I say, but let's just, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know if that's even a question or a statement. That's not even a question. Like,
but I think I know where you're going with it. It's more like I am responsible for anything I say out my mouth. That's one. But sometimes for me growing up in the ghetto in Brooklyn, your deliverance is really strong, and however you say something, it might not be the right way for it to come out. And I'm that person because I've learned that from my family. We just talk, we just say, and however you feel, we might have didn't mean it that way, but that's how it came out. So I definitely agree with what I said 100%, but I feel my deliverance could have been more.
Being a part of a house.
Yeah, being a part of a house, definitely to me. If you're a part of the house, you're going to get the whole experience. You're going to get the rundown. You're going to get to know what you're doing. I don't never want to do something and I don't know what I'm doing. Or I don't never want to join something or walk something and I don't know the foundation of where it came from, how it started, or at least educate me about what I'm doing so I can know what I'm doing. So I do believe if you are in Ballroom, be around it. You could be a 007 until you figure out where you want to go, and there's over 30 houses. You can figure out what fits you, but it's best to join a house and learn the legacy of Ballroom so you can fit in the right way.
Ballroom has a lot of oral history, right? And one of the reasons why I do these tapes is so that people hear the balls you won and your story from your mouth to their ears. Like it's just that's the importance. That's why I do this. What is it that you think the newer folks who may not understand the history of Ballroom always mess up? Like they just, like you said, you got chopped for a year. So I was just at a ball recently and I saw somebody get chopped and like they went crazy. And I mean, but they wasn't going crazy over somebody new. Like this was another like icon, and like it was like, and I remember like there was a time I would have never seen like somebody disrespect Stewart like that on a judges panel or Eric Lazar. Like and I'm thinking to myself, oh wow, the times have changed. So what is going through your mind when you said that? And I even was at a ball recently where somebody was kind of like questioning you and like then you kind of like get up, you were like getting upset, like don't question me, like you know, this is just, I'm the judge. And is that, what is that like, what is that entitlement, what is it? Because I don't get it.
The old days of judging versus the new days of judging, plus the old days of contestants walking versus the new contestants walking. It's crazy. One, the judges in the old days was more respectful than the judges in the new days. I think this new generation is they don't want no rules. They want to live by, because everything is fast now. You don't need a lover. You basically could get sex anytime you want. You know, at one time it wasn't even like that. You know what I mean? So everything is so fast in this new generation where they just, what did Selvin call it? A quick microwave.
Microwave generation.
That's where we at. A microwavable generation where they just want everything in 3 minutes. And it's so sad because we had to work for everything that we got. So I feel like everybody else should work for. And then when you finally do get legend, icon, or whatever you get, you deserve it. And now they don't have respect for a lot of icons. Now don't get me wrong. Respect comes in both ways. As well as you're supposed to respect the icons are supposed to respect the human as well. It don't matter if they're an icon. So that comes in both ways, but it's so crazy now that the new generation don't respect you unless they see you all the time. You always in their face, but it still might be a time or two where somebody might come out and say something weird. That's just where we at in life, and I think everything changes in time. So that's where we at.
So they said, so when is it, I also think like, do you think because they videotape all the balls now that humiliation is still out there? So a lot of times back in the early 2000s, 90s, early and late 90s, not every ball was filmed. Like it would be like, sometimes it would be filmed, sometimes it wouldn't be filmed.
Correct.
And so there was no documentation that you got chopped.
Yeah.
Or like, so now it's documented all the time that you were chopped. Like people could see it live. People could see it from in Japan. Oh, this person got chopped.
Yeah.
So now is it that added level of pressure?
Yeah, I do believe that is added more pressure now if you get chopped because you are taped and they can see it in minutes. Before they could not see it in a month or maybe forever. They had to go by word then. But now, since you can see everything quicker, people will get mad in anything if they get chopped because they know that tape is out there and it's fucking with their legacy. But at the end of the day, to be a great winner, you have to be a loser. So you have to put this in your mind. If this the game you want to play it. Because you're not gonna it's not gonna be your best day. I got chopped as an icon before. The original mother was Heidi. She's a white Caucasian woman that's still in Ballroom and still in my group. She lives in DC. So she was from the House of Allure. So she was the original house mother of Mizrahi in 1992. She was legendary Allure and we took her from Allure to Mizrahi. Then it was Sanaya.
Gotcha.
Then Sanaya came she was already in the house, but she became mother. Then she was going crazy. She threw bleach in one of the kids' face. I took the title from her, so that's how she was not overall mother no more for that. And then maybe it was a month or two. It wasn't even that long that she was overall mother. Then Jack became definitive mother or something. He used to call it something like that, where he always helped the house and we was looking for different mothers at that time. So that's when Jack was the mother for a minute. Then after Jack was the mother, then we even had Jasmine Couture come in at one time. That's the benefactor of Ballroom that was giving out so much money, like $100,000. She was the mother for a second. And then after her, it was Trigony. She was the mother, the overall mother for a minute. Then after that, then you had Trace was the last overall mother from Mizrahi. And right now we have none until the other one come out. We have one, but she never came out. Next July 30th, 2022.
2022.
Is the 30th anniversary of Mizrahi. 30 years, $30,000. We giving out the house that win the most. First time ever done. We the only house that gave out more money than any other house, period, for the house that wins the most trophy. The first year was $10,000. The second year was $15,000. But now that it's 30 years, we giving out $30,000 in 22.
So I actually remember, and I'm about to really tell like how far I can get. The first time you threw the awards, I think that was you who threw the awards. You, Tony.
That was the Legends Ball.
Yeah, and y'all gave out $1,000 in all black for runway. And I remember the girl like $1,000. They ain't giving out I think it was like 1999 or 98.
Yeah.
And I remember everybody was like, they giving out $1,000 for runway. Like it was
like it was amazing. Right?
Yeah.
And now it's like $1,000 is like $100 now, the way they give it out. Yeah.
Like $1,000. Like that was the first like photo. Like and that was like so like you have like a lot of first.
Yeah. I was always one of them in Ballroom that I wanted to do something first because it helps your brand, it helps build you so they can always remember something that you have brought to Ballroom. So I was always like the first for a few things.
And then was y'all the first to do the best dress for the $1,000? Was that yours?
Yeah, we started that as well. Yeah. And I made up the category Team Battle. That came from me.
You know where that came? That came from me. That came from me. It was my doing.
One face, one Vogue, one runway. I did that. I made that up as well. Jack made up Catboy. That came from Jack. He made Catboy Sex Siren. There's a few things that came just from Mizrahi, period.
Wow. Yeah. So Jack came up with Catboy, and he just.
One day he was like, we just need to break this down because they have the country ones and the juniors, and so he changed all that around and made that himself. Yeah. So Selvin, I'll be like Selvin Johannesburg, but it's really Johannes, that's her real last name. But MC Deborah, my daughter that I met as a Pendarvis 100 years ago, that was her house. She came from Avis Pendarvis. Nobody wanted Selvin to be a Mizrahi. Nobody but me and one child, Vanessa Mizrahi. Everybody else, Jack, everybody did not want Selvin. They were saying Selvin is not talented, she's too fat, she's too this, she's too that. They used to just read the fuck out of Selvin. And I was like, no, Selvin is very talented and y'all will see. It was just something I just seen in Selvin. So we finally bring Selvin over. And after we bring him, Selvin just blossomed. Like, he just slowly went into his own world and started doing Selvin and having 19 different names from Nanushka to MC Deborah. It was so many names this man got. I can't even tell you half of them. But at the end of the day, he stuck with Mizrahi forever. We went through stuff. He left, came back. But he always was my child. And it's a blessing that this man is still living. You know, he went through health problems, but he's still good. The mind is there. And he's at every ball that he can be. So to talk about the new generation of the Mizrahis, first, I don't know. I know everybody know. They thought Mizrahi was going somewhere because when me and Jack split, the house split. So basically, maybe 50% went with Jack, 30% stayed with me, and 20% went everywhere else in different houses because they didn't want to choose or whatever. And it was just a bunch of chaos.
That was grown, that was definitely strong. And relationships that was definitely tattered, and the relationships that definitely will never ever be fixed because of certain things that was done and certain things that was said. But you know, I learned in my 43 years that every person is not going to go to the next chapter in your life. And so, you know, I had a great 20 some odd years run with the House of Mizrahi and with Andre, and that chapter is...
When I mean the chaos was so thick, period, it was crazy. So I had to rebuild myself, regroup, and try to figure out where I was in life before I can even try to help Mizrahi, because I was fucked up. I won't even lie. I was really astonished with Ballroom and life because I just felt that I was just trying in so many different ways with that. So I had to rebuild myself. And finally, I rebuilt myself. And then I was like, well, one, I got to find the overall father for the house because I knew I was the founder, but I wanted the house to run still and be capable. And I was trying so many different names and looking over the best name that was to me was fit for this house. And that was the overall father of the house that's now, which is George. And that's my personal son, one of my sons that been in the house for over 20 years. I was not even looking at him. I was looking at so many others because of his job and how he was so far in LA. I was looking at other people that was really so close to me. And it ended up, I don't even know how I ended up looking at George, but I did. And that was the best thing to me possible to start this new generation with Mizrahi.
Kelly did an interview and she talks about you, and I guess a lot of folks may have this issue too, like you have been a part of the scene and those folks wanted you to allow new leadership and let new folks come in. That was what she said.
Okay.
And then you had made some responses back. You had said, you know, this was something you started, you have that right to choose when you want to leave and when you don't want to leave.
Correct.
And I think actually, to be honest, I thought both of your arguments were really valid.
Yeah.
So when you decided to leave Revlon, because you said it's time, like I need that time. Did you like say, hey, this is mine, like this is what I started, so if you guys, I wanted to start the House of Mizrahi, so that's what I did.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like how you felt about it? Like, I'm just curious. I don't want to put words into your mouth.
Well, when I started the house, when I left Revlon and started Mizrahi, I just felt like I wanted to do something else and be in control of my own destiny, if that makes sense. So that's why I started Mizrahi. And the same thing, you can never get mad at any kid that grows and prospers through you because they've learned so much from you to open their own. But at the same time, you can never be mad at a founder that takes his time to do whatever he feels that's correct for his brand. So that was the fight completely. Some felt that I was too old and they wanted me to give my title to whoever they felt like I should give it to. I'm about respect. If you cannot respect me 100%, you will never get my title. completely. So that's the first thing before I even look into your history with Ballroom and this and that and where do you fit at. You must respect me 100% as I respect you for you to graduate in my life. That's just how I am. But a lot of people didn't see it that way. They would see it, well, oh, he's just fit there. I don't care if he respects you or not. Just give him that. And that don't work with Andre. That was the downfall. And everybody started going here. And I'm a stern set. I'm not going to lie. For me to be 5'6" and 140 pounds, I am so stern. If I believe in something, there's nothing you can do to change my mind if I believe in whatever it is. And I will fight to death for it. And that's usually what I usually do. That's where we at.
So do you ever any regrets about that? Do you ever say like, maybe, we could have negotiated something? I don't know. I'm just saying.
Do I have any regrets of how the House of Mizrahi broke up? No, I do not. Why I don't is because I felt like I've done everything that I had to do as a man to fight for my destiny to survive. And I felt like if they left, they were supposed to leave. Everything happens for a reason. I do believe that everything that happened was supposed to happen the way it was, and that is life. You move on, you find out. One thing I've learned from Medea, Tyler Perry, and that was some people is not meant to be in your life forever. Sometimes it could be a week, a month, 5 years. You have to know the difference in the time to get rid of them so you can grow and prosper in your life. It don't take nothing away from their brand or yours, but you have to learn what's great for you to prosper. And that's what I've learned in the last 3 years of us breaking up.
Okay. And how is everybody now? I mean, it looks like, I know, so it looks like everybody is good now. It looks like everybody is wishing everybody well.
Yeah.
But I know it took a while probably to get there.
Yes.
Because I know how, things can be tense. But y'all came back together. It looks like everything is good. So can you talk about that?
How is everybody now? It's two type of ways we could talk about that. The House of Gucci and the House of Mizrahi, publicly, it's going to look fantastic because that's the cameras. That's just how life is, and you're supposed to do that. I'm so real, period. Now, don't get me wrong. Hands down, I will be a lie if I say I do not love Jack Mizrahi, period. If you've done 30 years with anybody, you have to love that individual as a human if you are human. That's just how I feel. The same with Kelly. As my kids, they're my kids, so I will love them. The same with Sanaya. Do I feel that we still have animosity in certain places? Yes, I would be wrong to say we don't. But as grown adults, we deal with it, and in due time, we will probably fix certain situations. But I will die in Mizrahi. I'm never leaving. This is where I will die, period, with my foundation. At the end of the day, I am so happy that they moved on, to Gucci and to find better places for them. But I love my brand. I love where I'm at in life, and I love what God got for me. So I'm good. If I had to give the young Mizrahi some advice to take for years on to where I'm at now, it would probably be it would definitely probably be don't trust everybody. It don't matter how long you knew them. It don't matter, period. Life is crazy. So at the end of the day, just remember your mind is basically what rules your life. Do not trust everybody, and I promise you might be in a better place. Trust yourself. Well, I'm the iconic pioneer, Andre Mizrahi. This is my life, and I'm sticking to it. Got you. See you soon.